friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally starting to film my witchy vlog for you guys. I know you have been waiting for quite a while. I mentioned it like back in the spring, I think, and it's fall now. We're in October. It's the perfect time. And I actually have one of the books on my TBR for this reading vlog that is like my last backlist title that I really wanted to get to this year. So I'm super excited about that. But let me go ahead and share the books with you, and then we will jump right into the witchy reading vlog. So the first book on top is actually not a book that I plan on reading like cover to cover, but it is this self-care, witchy self-care book. It's The Witch's Book of Self-Care, Magical Ways to Pamper, Soothe, and Care for Your Body and Spirit by Erin Murphy Hiscock, and that is also the author of The Green Witch, if you've heard of that. I received this for Christmas from a friend in my book club, and it just has so many like tips and tricks and ways and recipes and all of that that are things to help you take care of yourself. And I thought it would be fun to kind of like look through here and see if I can do some of these things. It talks about like journaling and like mental and emotional self-care, physical self-care, spiritual self-care, household self-care. And like I said, I am so excited to have this in my collection. These are YA witchy stories. I have read The Graces before, but I read it in November 2016. So it's been 5 years since I've read this, and I definitely want to reread it so I can read The Curses. And I just remember it being like the perfect autumnal read because of the atmosphere. It was like super dreamy and just, yeah, it had all of the vibes. So I definitely want to reread this one so I can jump into this one and see how it ends and all of that. I remember it having like really great characters and kind of like some mysterious elements thrown in as well. So really excited about these. I have another book that I received from a friend in my book club. This one I received for my birthday. It's The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. I've never read anything by Cass Morgan before, but I have read from Danielle Page before, but never like obviously as a duo. And this is about a group of sorority girls that are witches, and I absolutely love this cover. I love all of the crows. I love all of the colors. Only their sisterhood can save them. So it's the sisters of an ultra-exclusive Kappa Rho Nu. The Ravens seem like typical sorority girls. Ambitious, beautiful, and smart. They're the most powerful girls on Westerly College's Savannah, Georgia campus. But the Ravens aren't just regular sorority girls, they're witches. So this is another YA story, but it's one that I'm really excited about. Fear of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. And talk about that cover. It's so eerie and ominous, and I've just heard that this will like haunt my dreams. This one I received from, you guessed it, someone in my book club for Christmas, and it says gothic, dark, and utterly enthralling. And this is a world I wanted to sink into and never leave. A young woman living in a rigid, puritanical society discovers dark powers within herself in this stunning feminist fantasy debut. Power of the Witch by Chris 𝒕𝒊𝒎𝒔𝒕𝒂𝒎𝒑𝒔. I don't know how to say the author's last name, but this is like very well known in, like, if you look up any lists that are like witchy book recommendations, like this is on there. And I just randomly ran across it the other day, and like I said, in the book exchange, a young Puritan woman, faithful, resourceful, but afraid of the demons that dog her soul, plots her escape from a violent marriage in this riveting and propulsive historical thriller. So it's Boston, 1662, a timely and terrifying novel of socially sanctioned brutality and the original American witch hunt. I am so excited about this. I hope I can find the audiobook because I know this is also outside my comfort zone. 99 of the Graces by Lori Evie, and this is a reread for me. Subtle witchy story. It's about this one character named River that moves to this town, and there is this family, and they are like the Graces family, and everybody in town thinks they're witches, and River is really intrigued by that, so they are trying to infiltrate the siblings at school and see if they really are witches, become friends with them, because they're just these really, like, I don't know, everybody wants to be friends with them, everybody wants to be connected with them, and I just really remember loving it. I remember loving the atmosphere. Pretty much everything is the same that I remember. It does have a subtle plot, but it's also so much more about River wanting to be connected to these people, wanting to feel a part of something. So the story is twofold. You're trying to see, are the Graces really witches, and what's up with River, her past, and all of that. The story and the writing itself, it's super dreamy, it's super atmospheric, it's like slower paced, but it's building nicely. I'm never bored, I'm just immersed in the atmosphere, and it's really, really lovely. I finished the Graces this morning, and it's just as like dreamy, hazy, atmospheric as I remember. It definitely is like a lot about the characters, but it also has like this snail pace plot that's quite mysterious as well, with slight witchy vibes. And I really, really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars the first time I read it. I'm rating it 4 stars 5 years later. I love that it is like a slower paced plot, but it's quite mysterious and a little bit witchy. I would say if you like the movie The Craft, or if you like Twilight, you will probably like this as well. A lot of people didn't like it, so maybe it's a little bit too strange for people, a little bit out there, maybe a little bit childish. It is YA, but I really enjoyed it. It had all the atmosphere that I wanted. Right, friends, one of the things that I said I wanted to do in this witchy vlog was make something from this self-care book. What I want to do today is actually make one of the recipes out of here, and without having to go to the store. Found this recipe for vanilla cookie sugar scrub, and it only has 3 ingredients and a container to store it. So it says this scrub has a cozy, comforting smell. If you're a fan of freshly baked cookies, this may be the scrub for you. Coconut oil has a subtle fragrance and feels luxurious on the skin. This recipe is so good it will smell like a dessert. Technically it's not, although these scrub ingredients are safe for consumption. If you lick your fingers, I won't tell. So it has what you need: 1/4 cup of coconut oil, so I'm using this coconut oil, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, so mine's just in this container right here, and I don't know if I have 1/4 cup in there, so if I don't, I'm going to just put the rest regular white granulated sugar, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I have that right here, and yeah, so you basically, and a container to store it in. So I just have this little glass mason jar. So yeah, so you mix all the ingredients together and you put them in the small jar, and then to use, massage onto skin, then rinse with warm water and pat dry. All right, I've been trying to find like a passage that wouldn't give too much away, but that just gives you like the description that I'm loving. So this comes from chapter 8. I loved how tiny and provincial our train station at home was, how the ticket office was manned for about an hour a day, how the wooden sign for the cafe on the platform had been corroded over time by the salt in the air, how as soon as the train doors opened and I stepped out, the smell of the sea crawled up my nose and filled my lungs. Whatever else happened, wherever else I went in my life, this place would cling to my blood. The sea and the sand and the rocks and the cliffs and the dunes and the cobblestones, the sight of the fishing boats beached up on the shore, ready to set out and bring in the next catch, the cute little pastel-striped ice cream parlors and the cries of gulls overhead. At this exact moment, nothing could dampen my mood. So I just, that imagery, I just love it. Update on the curses. Look how like nasty the book cover is now, because I read it naked, and like lotion and like everything else has gotten on it. Anyway, I am 37% into it. I'm on page 126 and I am still really liking the writing. Still liking the characters because we're following many of the same characters from the first book. However, there's no real plot happening. I mean, things are happening, but like, I don't understand what we're getting at with this book yet. It hasn't made like its main mission known. Update. Just got out of the shower and last night I finished the curses and I was really let down by this one. I gave it 2 stars because everything that I loved about the first book was missing in this second book. In the first book, all of the characters are already established, so there's not much character building, and the mysterious elements from the first book were kind of solved. So this one didn't offer anything new on that, and it didn't really have anything else going for it. The writing and the description was nice. I enjoyed it, but everything else was pretty much a flop. So I would recommend, if you're interested, to just read this one and skip this one. Ravens. This one is about a group of sorority girls that are all witches, so I'm really excited about this. So this is what I'm gonna go ahead and start today. I did start reading this a little bit ago. I'm on page 24 and I'm not loving the writing. It does read very young and I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, but I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. I wanted to give you guys a quick update of the Ravens. I had started it earlier. I read like 20 some pages and I was reading it physically because I thought I had the audiobook, but I didn't. So I was like, I'm just gonna read it physically. And I wasn't liking it, and I was really worried because I want to love this with everything in my being. So I decided to go ahead and get the audiobook. I purchased the audiobook and now I am on page 41. So I've read like double the amount that I had previously and I am loving it. I'm already enjoying it 100 times better and I'm excited about continuing. Right now we have 2 POVs, Vivi and Scarlett. Vivi is a freshman going to college for the first time. She's from Reno, Nevada. Her mom doesn't really want her to go. and it just seems like she's really excited about starting over fresh, like that fresh start. And then you have Scarlett's chapter. I think she's a junior. She's already in the sorority, and she's wanting to be the president that year. And she's kind of, her mom and her older sister have both been presidents of the sorority, and now that she's wanting to follow in their footsteps. And I'm thinking that Vivi is going to go to this rush party that they're having, and she does have magic in her, and they're going to try to recruit her, and then the story is just going to take off from there. But yes, so far, non-audiobook, not really feeling it. With audiobook, already enjoying it 10 times better. So highly recommend the audiobook for this one. I am currently on page 152, and I'm very much in the thick of it with the story. So you have Vivi and Scarlett. I think that's the only POVs I'm gonna get. I'm not sure because I haven't really like flipped through, but I'm pretty sure. So you have Scarlett, who is a junior at the college, wanting to be president of the sorority house. You have Vivi, who is pledging the sorority, and they already had their first like party to kind of entertain the idea of potential new members. They've selected their class of potential new members, and now they are going through Hell Week, which is part of the recruitment process. So they're making the girls do all of these different things, and because they're witches, it's all like magical and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying it, but it's not blowing me away. I don't know if it's because it is YA, because I'm like enjoying it, you know what I'm saying, but I'm not like loving it. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish it up. Like I said, I'm hoping to finish the rest today. It's kind of a tall order, but hopefully I can buckle down and finish this one so I can start something else. Update. I finished The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. Overall, I did enjoy the story. I'm gonna rate it 3 out of 5 stars. I think that if I was still reading and really enjoying YA, I would definitely like it more. It follows a set of college students though, so maybe it's more new adult than young adult, but the writing felt very young adult. I think both of these authors write primarily young adult. So it's about a group of sorority sisters that are keeping the secret that they're witches. They're coming off as like a normal sorority. They're ushering in new members. There's some things that they have to use their powers to fight against. There's things that happened in the past that, you know, come into play in the present. And overall, like I said, it was a really good story. There were some surprises and twists along the way that I didn't see. And it really did like hone in on the message of like sisterhood and like sorority sisterhood, but it also had those really good witchy vibes. There were spells, there was different kind of magic. Yeah, so that was really cool. And there was like a, you know, the sisterhood was like a coven. So I definitely think if you like YA, if you want a witchy story, definitely check this one out. So I highly recommend this, especially like I said, to YA readers. For me personally, I'm looking for a little something a bit more mature. Quick update about The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. It's only going to be a duology. So the second book is called The Monarchs, and it seems like it follows directly the events related in this book. We just kind of continue into another year of The Ravens. I don't know why it's called The Monarchs, but it's set to release in 2022. I believe early 2022. So I did add it to my wish list, and I would read it, especially since it's only a duology. I don't know if these are magical names or not, but I just started reading the X-Hex, and on the very first page on the prologue it says never mix vodka and witchcraft. Vivi knew that. Vivi is also one of the main characters in The Ravens. Then it goes on to say blah 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 blah. But Vivi reasoned as she sank deeper into the bathtub and took another slurp of vodka and cranberry concoction. Her cousin Gwen, spelled G-W-Y-N, which is different than how I spell mine, Gwen is also a side character in The Ravens. So both of those names, Vivi and Gwen, are in both of these books. That's crazy to me. This one spells it the way I spell it. This one spells it differently, but that's just interesting. I just picked up another correlation between the two books. This one and The Ravens both take place in Georgia. This one is Graves Glen, Georgia, which doesn't sound like a real town, but maybe it is, I don't know. But the other one, The Ravens, takes place in Savannah, Georgia. So not only do we have the same like setting, but we also have characters that have the same name. I am really enjoying it. I'm not very far. I'm on chapter 5, page 42, and I could have read a lot more, but I was just really busy today. I'm really enjoying it. It's gonna be this like cute romantic comedy about two people that have dated before getting back together, I'm assuming. So the prologue is like 9 years previously to the main story, and it's Vivi and her cousin Gwen putting this like hex on this guy that she had to dump because he said he was betrothed to someone else and all this, and she's a witch and he is also from a family of witches. And now it is 9 years later, and she is a teacher teaching like normal humans, and he lives, I forget exactly where he lives, but he goes back to visit his dad, and then his dad sends him back to this town to strengthen the ley lines, and he does this during this like festival or something like that, like around Halloween time. And so he's gonna go back, and then she finds out that he's coming back to do it. And I'm just like, oh, because you could tell like the chemistry was obviously there between them. And I'm just so excited to get more into it. So it's just gonna be about them, you know, exploring that. Finished the X-Hex by Erin Sterling, which, if you didn't know, is actually Rachel Hawkins writing under a pseudonym, which I thought was interesting because she has written YA books and adult books, but I didn't know if it's because it's a departure from like thrillers as adult, she chose a different name. However, I read this, I enjoyed it, it gave me the romance, it gave me the witchy vibes, but it just didn't quite all come together for me to love it more than a 3 stars. But I really did enjoy it. It was a comfortable, cozy fall time read. It had a little bit of magic, a little bit of romance, and it was all centered around like October and like Halloween and this town. It kind of reminded me like that movie Halloween Town, like the Disney movie Halloween Town, except for it wasn't the story in Halloween Town. It was like a totally set of different characters in that town, and of course they're adults. But I wish that it had more description, especially because it was all surrounding this festival and this like Founders Day thing, and of course Halloween and all of that. And they did describe the shop that her aunt and cousin worked in, but not as much as I wanted them to. And just like the town, they would say like the lanterns on the main street lit up, and you know, different shops had out decorations and stuff like that. And there was this like one part where it was actually the festival, and they went and they got these like caramel apple hand cakes and how delicious they were. That sounded so good. So one thing that I wish they would have included was like the recipe for those in the back of the book or something like that. I think that would have been really fun. And I just wanted a little bit more description, and it's only like 308 pages, so it is on the shorter side. And it felt like it was trying to include a little bit too much with like Reese's father and his brothers. And I did like the history of the town and all of that, like based for the festivals and stuff. But I felt like the relationship between like Reese and his father and his brothers, it was almost like that didn't need to be in there unless there's going to be more going on. And I think this is a standalone, I'm not really sure, but it felt like the way they were setting up some of the characters that didn't really end up being that important to this actual story. They could have left that out and then used that time to give us a little bit more description to really like set us in the fall vibes, and I would have loved it even more. And it had like these like weird sex scenes. Like they weren't like too dramatic, too in your face. They weren't like raunchy, but I mean, they didn't really need to be there. So I don't know. I just feel like the focus was a little bit all over the place, but the story was good. The romance was sweet. I loved Reese. I loved our main character, Vivi and Gwen, and then their aunt, Eileen, I think was her name. And I loved the town of Graves Glen, which very much reminded me of Halloween Town. So 3 out of 5 stars for this one. If you've read it, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But that means we are moving on to our last book, you guys. And finally, the last book I am attempting to read for this vlog is, and I'm so excited about it, A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Number 1, I mean, this cover screams witchy vibes. The black with the dark purple and the webs and this moth bee, I don't know what it is, but I am just so excited about this because it is a mixture between like witchy vibes and also like dark academia vibes. And I recently heard my friend Marcy talk about it in her September wrap up, and she was saying that the girls in here are in high school, but if you think of it more as they're in college, then it fits a little bit better because they read very grown up as opposed to like 15, 16 years old. They seem like they're in college. So I'm gonna go into it with that mindset, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy this one. Y'all, I am so happy to report that I am loving A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Oh, it's just giving me all the fall vibes that I want. And today, literally, like where I live, it's the perfect fall day. It is sunny outside, but it's cool and it's windy, and my neighbor is burning in their fire pit, so it smells like wood smoke, and the windows are open and the curtains are flying everywhere. It is just the best fall day ever. So I have just been sitting over there in bed reading. I made it to page 43, chapter 5, and I am just really loving it. I don't really know what the main storyline is going to be, but we do follow a student returning to the school, and then I think there is a new student to the school, and they all live in the same like dormitory situation. But let me just say that I 100% agree with what Marcy said in her September wrap-up about this book. You literally have to take the words high school out of the equation and just think that they're at like a private college, like a liberal arts school or something like that. Definitely do not think that they are in high school, because they do not read like they are in high school. I'm here with a reading update. I am chunking my way through this. I am currently on page 166 and my goal is to finish this bad boy today. I have about 2 hours of the audiobook left. I will say, like, overall I am enjoying the story and the writing and the characters. However, the plot is a little missing. I mean, what can I say? Nothing is really happening in this other than the characters getting to know each other more and us trying to figure out, like, what exactly did happen to Felicity's girlfriend. Yeah, and then there is the mysterious element around the Dalloway Five, which are these witches from, like, history at the school. Other than that, nothing is happening. Great news, friends. I finished A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I'm gonna rate this story 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't my favorite. I could possibly give it 2 stars, but I think I'm just gonna give it 3 because I can see it appealing to a wide range of readers. If you like dark academia, if you like murder mysteries, if you like character-driven stories, if you enjoy YA witchy stories, I definitely think that you would enjoy this. However, for me, the plot was kind of missing. Like I said before, it wasn't until the end that things really started to come together. Along the way, the writing was really beautiful. I loved the description. I wish it did have, like, more witchy vibes, but it had a fair amount. I ended up bumping down my rating to 2 stars instead of 3 stars after writing my review on Goodreads and the Story Graph, because I really did like the dark academia vibes. I really did like the witchiness of it. I really did like the murder mystery aspect, but all of those things were, like, such a small part of the overall story, and because it had so many elements, it really became, like, kind of messy and all over the place. I think the beginning 100 pages was really good. I think the last 50 pages was really good. So I really think it should have been a novella, and it would have, like, significantly cut down, like, the pages in this, because it just felt like it was going on and on and on. And then I did DNF 2 books, which I'm really sad about, but it happens. I DNF'd The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I just couldn't get into the writing, and yeah, I really did give it a go, but it's just not for me. And then I also tried Hour of the Witch by Chris Bojalian, and this again was the writing style. I would say that if you like one, you should definitely check out the other one, because the writing style was very similar. They seem more like historical fiction, literary, than my typical comfort level of reading. So I'm DNFing both of these, and I'm actually going to take these to the book exchange. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, guys.